red bottoms, how I'm dripping. All white Buffy's, how I'm saucy.
LabDiamondLondon.com.
All white Buffy's, how I'm saucy.
Salute! Yeah, we're big pimping today. What you got for me? Come on, talk to me.
Greetings, 师傅. 师傅, who do you plan on voting for in the upcoming elections?
Who would I vote for? I don't know. I don't think the UK... Okay, let's put it like this. I spoke to my stepdad last week, and I asked him the same exact question. I said, who are you going to vote for this year? And he's Jamaican, hard worker, got his own business, working hard all his life, everything. And he said, like, I'm not voting for no one. And this is so unlike him. He votes all the time. That's the whole purpose of me asking him that question. He said he's not voting. He says he refuses to be a puppet. So this is someone that is very, watches the news every day. He follows he's well read, and for him to even think critically and say, I don't want to be a part of this mess, someone like him, I could only imagine how many other people like him are thinking the same thing. It's probably it's probably quite common for people this year to think, I don't even want to participate in the vote because it's such a mess already. Like, I'll be honest, I look more into the American politics because I think that has a bigger impact on the dollar itself has a bigger impact on the world and the changes that are made in the world. So I'm following that one closely. I think Donald Trump has to be voted into the presidency. And if not, then I think America is going to be very nervously stepping on eggshells into a civil war. Sounds ridiculous, but I think that's how important this election is for the Americans right now. And the effect that it has on the world, anyone who's anyone, as in like the higher ups, they are monitoring that with the eye of a hawk because it's so vital to the future of the next, 10 years or so. And another thing that's very, very important is if China decide to invade Taiwan, the whole world is going to be screwed if America or anyone from the West decides to back Taiwan. That's the sort of stuff that I've been looking at. So I haven't been looking closely and monitoring the UK situation. I think that Sunak has got like an incredibly tough job on his hand. I think anyone that comes into the English government as a prime minister right now has such an uphill mountain to climb. It's unbelievable. The state of the UK is like, it's just awful right now. The country is so degenerate right now as well. It's just a mess everywhere you look. I will tie back the China thing later, but I watched the show that popped up on my YouTube, just some random ratchet Channel 4 documentary about a city up north in the UK. Let's post it here and maybe just show some scenes from it. Right. When I watched this, I don't even think I finished watching the whole program because I was so disgusted. I was like, this is England right now in 2024. This is England. Like, it's not even like I grew up in a ratchet environment, right? And growing up in the late 80s and early 90s, okay, fair enough. If you live in a ratchet ends, like, it's just ratchet and that's the way it is. Like, so be it, right? It's 2024 and we still have ratchet societies everywhere, even more around the whole of the UK. Even in the smallest pockets, in the most obscure regions, it's still ratchet as heck. Man, England's screwed. Think about it. Where I'm from, there was all type of fuckery. There was white on white crime, white on black crime, black on black crime, Asian on Asian, Indian on it. Like, it was just a melting pot of like craziness where I'm from in England, right? But to look at this show and see up north in like the most obscure little region that is so chavvy, so fucked up, is unreal. It's like, come on, if even those places can't be saved, like, England's screwed, rude boy. England's a mess. Like, we're talking the point I'm trying to make is this ain't even like immigration problems. This ain't no hood shit. This ain't no, like, it ain't no grimy hood, like, with blacks and Albanians and Turkish and, Asians. And this is just a white community that is fucked. White on white crime in North England. Crazy. And don't get me wrong, I know there's other places like that. Like, you got Newport, you got Merseyside, you got all these places that are like that with like heavy, the white guys put it the fuck down in England. Do you know what I mean? But this place I watched, there was like zero other races in it. And I was just like, yo, this ain't even about color. This is about society, class system. It's like classism. It's not even racism. The government doesn't even give a fuck if you're white or black or Pakistani, Indian, whatever. They don't give a fuck. It's like anyone can get it, Any of your cities could be ratchet as hell. This city has the most highest stabbings after London in the UK. And look where it is on the map. Show where it is on the map. That's crazy. And when you watch it, you're like, could you imagine bringing up youths there? Like, don't get me wrong, it's the same everywhere in the UK. If you bring up youths in London, Birmingham, Bristol, Manny, wherever you bring up your youths, they're going to have problems with knife crime. And, it's just part of the society. And it's been like that for a long time because I grew up heavily in it, probably worse than it is what you see today. But now there's cameras everywhere, so you really can't avoid seeing it, right? But the fact that when I saw that documentary, I was like, there's no hope for this city. Like, there's zero hope. In fact, it's probably going to get worse. Once fentanyl and stuff like that gets pumped into a city like that, it's going to be a zombie town completely. So who would I vote for? I can't vote for anyone. I'm following the footstep of my dad, of my stepdad, unfortunately. I just can't vote. I haven't even looked into the political situation here. I saw there's another guy who's who's a conservative, but no, I just can't. I can't vote. We've been screwed over so many times in the UK with the government over the past 10 years. Who would you vote for? Whoever. The thing with the UK is whoever gets in charge isn't going to change anything on a surface level, because as sad as it sounds, it's almost like they want it to be the way it is. They want this high crime in the UK. They want this unsettled, like, immigration where it's like 100 men to 1 woman coming into the country or something crazy like that.
Get to the barber. 23 man. What? 23 man, blood! I've got a do-rag on like I'm 2005 JME Aki.
Boy, better know. Serious.
Hear what I'm saying, blood? You don't know the male percentage of migrants in this country.
Talk to me.
80%. Man, there's literally too many men.
Do you know what I mean? It's just too many men coming in, like, you know. And that's, imagine, you know it's bad when generations of immigrants are complaining about the immigrants. Do you know what I mean? My mum's from Jamaica, you know what I'm saying? And they're complaining about the immigrant situation. I'm a generation below. I'm born here, but I'm the next generation. I'm uneasy with a lot of the immigration. So imagine how, like, you know that you have the EDL and stuff like that. Like, there's gonna be like an ethnic EDL. I could foresee there being an ethnic EDL. I think there probably already is some, or at least one, or people of color. I've seen an EDL video where I seen a black guy with the EDL. Like, yeah, come on, fucking immigrants. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's great, bro. It's crazy right now. Like, imagine if the next generation from the immigrants are complaining about today's immigrants. That's how bad society is. Do you know what I mean? Crazy. But so what I look at is more the American politics and the China thing. So I was looking at the China situation. And by the way, if you know me well, you know I love Chinese culture, Chinese people, Chinese language, Chinese food. I was Chinese in a past life as well as many other races, put it that way. I love China that much, right? Now, if China invade Taiwan, this is what I've been researching. I suggest anyone who's concerned about international trade, financial markets, power struggles with the geopolitical situation, do some research on it. If China invade Taiwan, what would happen? And particularly what would happen if they invade Taiwan and the West supports Taiwan, which looks like it could be that way. Like, because you see, I think one of the Biden administration women went over to Taiwan. That caused a big fuss and stuff. China have obviously monitored the Russia situation, so they wouldn't necessarily invade Taiwan unless they had their power situations similar to like Russia did, where even though they had all these sanctions, Russia, and the situation with the dollar, they still survived that, you know. Their economy didn't get as hit as bad as the West thought they would hit it, because Putin was well prepared by the looks of things. And I think obviously China would be way more prepared because they would have monitored the Russia situation. So what happens is, as far as I remember, it's something like Taiwan makes the chips for a lot of stuff that is used in the West. So if China invade Taiwan, they now have control of the movement of those chips. And that puts them in such a dominant position on the world chessboard. It's unreal, you know? And then if America decide to stand with Taiwan, that will be the most messiest thing you've ever seen. Even if nothing happens even if nothing happens apart from just China invading Taiwan, then what happens is even if China just invade Taiwan and no one else comes to the rescue of Taiwan or tries to have a proxy war, if none of that happens, then it's just the invasion of Taiwan by China. Just that isolated incident alone, from the research that I've done, would mean whatever we experience as far as like the standard of living prices and all this inflation that's happened in the West, they're saying times that by 10 and COVID and the 2008 crash, that's what the financial system would look like globally if China invade Taiwan. So that's the one that I've got my eye on. The thing with the election here in the UK, whoever gets put in charge is still going to be a bitch to America. So if Taiwan gets invaded by China and America decide to step in and go against China and, you know, protect Taiwan, then England's just going to follow suit as we always do. We're just going to be like, yeah, America's going, so we're going to go too. And that's fair. We're allies and everything like that. And I respect that. But it's like, whoever we vote, we don't have any control over those decisions that's being made. You know, whether it's Labour or if it's Conservative, it doesn't matter. We don't have any voice for it. They just decide what they're going to do anyway. So to bring it full circle from that perspective of my own, I could see why someone like my stepdad is saying, I refuse to be their puppet. Because that's essentially what we've been over the last few years. I bet if you went around the country and you did a survey on the majority of the British people and said, although what happened in Ukraine is absolutely tragic, would you have funded would you have sent them weapons? Would you have funded the war? Would you have basically created a proxy war with your tax-paying pounds? Guarantee you a very extremely high percentage of British public would say no, they wouldn't have decided to do that. They would have been against the war. They would have shown their support in many other ways, and they would have and especially if they were educated. So if they kind of knew, if you've seen the Putin Tucker interview, then you kind of understand Putin's angle on the whole situation. And it's kind of like, imagine we got beef with Russia, okay? And then let's use someone else. Imagine we got beef with North Korea, okay? And North Korea decide to align with Ireland or Northern Ireland, the Ireland that's not part of the UK. Imagine they decide to align with them and then place missiles in their country, which is obviously on our border. You know, it's like, come on, like, you're gonna attack, right? So that's kind of like Putin's situation. It's kind of like he's protecting his people in a sense that, look, I told you guys in NATO, this is the last straw. Do not come past this line. And they're like, screw you, Putin. We do what we want. So Putin's like, oh, hell no, you ain't doing that. Bang. Goes and invades Ukraine. There's more to it than that, but that's like the nutshell that you kind of get from what he was saying. And also, he was saying, if all these other people didn't get involved and start chucking money and everything like that, the chances are he would have most likely taken a little chunk of what he felt necessary or whatever and just kept it there. So all these unnecessary deaths wouldn't have happened. Even though it may be wrong, it may be right, or whatever, war is bad, we all know that. And, you know, prayers out to the families from the heart, sincerely. We're the ones almost adding fuel to the fire by strengthening and supporting Ukraine in the way that we've been doing it. and we've gained a big enemy at the same time. So it's crazy. Like, a lot of the public would not have done that. And it's the same situation with Israel right now. You know, we're going to be pumping money into Israel, pumping arms into Israel to kill off the Palestinians and blah, blah, blah. You see the riots in the UK. The UK is a very heavily Muslim community. They don't want to see their brothers and sisters getting killed. So a lot of the public vote would actually, especially if they were honestly educated on these subjects, they would say, no, I do not want my taxpaying pounds to go to these tragedies. You know, I don't want to support this. So a part of me is a bit of a conspiracy theorist, in the sense that the high crime rates, the immigration and everything must have some justification for it to be allowed to get to the sort of levels that it's gotten to now. And, you know, the sort of old David Icke thing, problem, reaction, solution, that always stands true when you look through history, and even recent history involving our country. So if there's a problem of high crime, there's a problem of immigration, and a couple other problems here and there or whatever, then you have a public reaction, which is happening right now. If you go on TikTok, if you go anywhere on social media, if you just talk to people in the street, oh my God, the knife crime's too high. I'm moving outside of London. Oh, the knife crime's too high. Even little cities, little kids are dying 15 years old from knife crime. You know, I've been affected by knife crime myself in my life. And it's just one of those things that is like theft in London, theft in all the major cities of the UK, Range Rovers getting taken off people's drives, just all sorts of madness is going on in this country right now, yeah? And the reaction is, the public is angry, they're frustrated, they want to get out. So many people I've spoke to is like, yeah, just get your money and move out of England. That's the sort of sentiment that is happening right now in the UK. Now, what would be the government's solution? That's where I'm trying to think 10 steps ahead. It's like, why are they letting it go to this stage? Because they can actually easily stop crime. It's not hard to stop crime. It's not hard to stop immigration. Not as hard, nowhere near as hard as they're making it out to be. It's just excuse after excuse. It can easily be stopped. Any government in a country like ours can stop crime very quickly if they actually put resources, put money and manpower behind it. So what's the reason for them allowing it to continue? All I could think of out of the box right now is that you have new technologies arriving, such as AI. So they're going to find some sort of solution with something like that, where it would be like, okay, to enter this region of a city or this part of town, you have to demonstrate, you have to show ID, you have to have like some sort of eye recognition thing done, you know, like your car number plate has to be registered in a certain way before you could enter this region of town. And this would be considered a safety zone. So say, for example, it's quite dense in the UK, but say, for example, if you wanted to go Mayfair would be now a safety zone. Okay. And in order for you to enter that region, you would have to show ID. So your passport would be like linked to your, I don't know, Apple eyeglasses or something. And you go there and it gets recognized, and then you're allowed to enter the safety zone. If you don't have this ID and whatnot, you can't enter the safety zone. Outside of the safety zone is maybe like a purge or something. So it's like everyone's willing to give up their identity, give up their sort of freedoms for a sense of freedom. So right now, England, the state of a lot of the major cities and places in England is a state of emergency. It's a state of, you know, fear. So right now, everyone doesn't feel free. So they'll offer a different kind of freedom where it's like you feel safe. You know, we might start having gated communities, or more, you might start seeing more gated communities pop up. And then it's like you have to give up some of your rights, as you know, like as in you have to give up all your details, all your information, to get access to these areas, so they can monitor you and everything all the way through and see who's coming in and out. But you would easily give it up because you'll be like, well, now I feel safe. Now I feel freedom. But in fact, you're actually being pushed more into like a slave regime, you know, because they could have easily fixed the crime in the first place. They just wanted to do this so they can capitalize on your data and stuff as we turn into the what's it called? Into this new age of AI technology. Because eventually you gotta think, it's really bad now, right? Everyone's like, you know, living on edge. They fear their kids' safety when their kids go to school. They feel like they don't want to buy a luxury car because it just gets stolen. They feel all these sort of nerve-wrenching feelings. So people feel all these nerve-wrenching feelings. They feel all these they feel all this social anxiety over safety and freedom and lack thereof it. And so with AI technology coming, do you know how many people are going to lose their jobs? Like, it's going to be a very high percentage that will lose their jobs. You got to understand, if 5% of the population lose their job, that is something to be very, very concerned about. With AI, it's probably going to be a lot more than 5%. So a lot of these countries in the West, particularly the UK, are going to have a lot of economical and social problems from the launch of AI as it grows. And people, even educated people, are going to be without work. And there's going to be no hope for society apart from in these safety zones, you know? The other incentive I could think is that they have all this immigration I think with the immigration in America, they're doing it more so to gain votes. So they're getting all these immigrants come in and they get given housing and all this other stuff. And then they turn into a vote, right? So they end up becoming someone that could be a vote for that political party. And in the UK, a similar thing is almost starting to pop up now, where we're fighting over votes. We're targeting votes on people that are more likely to actually vote and leaving the rest kind of like not caring about them, you know? Like the social housing situation. It's like rent is still high in most places, especially in the southern of UK. Wages are low, inflation is high. Look, this is a reason. This is the main reason why, you know, England's screwed. A bottle of ketchup is over £4. Let me say that again. A bottle of ketchup is over £4. That's insane for a lot of people. And you know, in the UK, we love some ketchup.
All red bottoms, how I'm dripping. All white Buffy's, how I'm saucing.
London.com.
All white Buffy's, how I'm saucing.